The millionaire returns home and is shocked to find his new black maid, an only son, in the kitchen. The door creaked open before Grant Ellison even stepped inside. His polished shoes touched the tiles of his private foyer, and the wheels of his sleek black suitcase trailed behind him with a soft rattle. He looked every bit the man who'd closed million-dollar deals across Europe, tailored white suit, violet dress shirt, designer watch, but nothing about him looked prepared for what he was about to see. He wasn't supposed to be back until Friday. A quiet smile tugged at his lips as he reached down and gently touched the small teddy bear tied to the suitcase handle. Lucas's favorite. He hadn't seen his son in over 4 weeks. This was going to be a surprise, the kind that would light up those wide blue eyes and make up for lost time. He imagined Lucas charging into his arms, giggling. Instead, as he stepped into the kitchen doorway, his heart froze. There at the sink stood a woman he didn't immediately recognize. A black woman wearing a gray apron tied around her waist, a dark short-sleeve top beneath. Her arms were braced against the edge of the counter, her head lowered, but her shoulders trembled. She was crying, not softly, not discreetly. The kind of quiet breakdown that shook a person to the bone and wrapped tightly around her back, legs locked around her waist, arms clinging like vines, was Lucas, his son, his only son. The boy's face was red from crying, buried in the woman's shoulder, as if she were the only safe place left in the world. He wasn't just hugging her. He was holding on for dear life. Grant stepped forward, stunned. Lucas. Neither of them turned. His voice came out sharper now. Lucas. That made the woman jump. Her head snapped around, revealing tear-streaked cheeks, wide eyes full of alarm. She looked at Grant as if she'd been caught stealing from a church. Lucas finally turned his face, wet with tears, lips quivering, and wailed. No, don't take her. The words hit Grant like a brick. I am sorry, sir, the woman stammered, voice tight and hoarse. He won't let go. Grant took another step inside. What is going on here? Who are you? I'm Nia. Nia Monroe, she said, trying to lower Lucas gently to the floor. The agency sent me last month when Ms. Rena quit. We spoke on the phone twice. Grant blinked, processing. Yes, Nia. She had a soft voice on the phone. Had sounded professional enough. He approved her without much thought, but he never expected this. Lucas was shaking now, clinging harder. Please, Daddy, don't send her away. Please, she didn't do anything. Send her away, Grant repeated, stunned. Why would I? I burned the rice, Nia whispered bitterly. That's why I'm crying. But not because of you. It's because Lucas told me he wished I was his mommy. She choked on the last word. Grant stared, unable to speak. I didn't ask for that, she continued, her voice trembling but firm. I didn't try to take anyone's place. He had nightmares, sir. Every night he called for someone, anyone, and there was no one but me. I sang to him, held him. He needed someone. Grant's stomach turned. He'd left his son in the care of strangers, cold, professional hands, no warmth, just schedules and silence. Ray had texted once about Lucas screaming in his sleep. He assumed it was a phase. Now he realized it wasn't. Lucas was shaking his head violently, still begging through sobs. She helps me breathe, Daddy. Nia looked away, trying to steady herself. I'm not asking to stay. I didn't know how deep I was in until he said that. The silence was loud. Grant had conquered rooms full of executives, dominated boardrooms, but now in his own home, he was speechless. His son, the center of his universe, was clinging to a maid he barely knew. And she, this stranger, looked more broken-hearted than anyone Grant had ever seen. I thought I was doing the right thing, he said under his breath. Working, building something for him. Money doesn't sing to a child at night, Nia said quietly. Or hold their hand after a bad dream. Lucas finally slid down, but stayed pressed to her side. Grant's voice cracked. And what are you to him now? Nia paused. Safe. Grant stood still, his white suit glowing in the soft kitchen light. The pot on the stove hissed in the background, forgotten. And in that moment, the empire he'd built felt so far away. Grant didn't move. Nia didn't either. Lucas clung to her side, his small hands gripping her apron like he expected her to disappear. The kitchen smelled faintly of burned rice and something else, something Grant couldn't name, but felt pressing against his chest. Guilt. He had imagined this homecoming so differently. He saw himself sweeping in like the perfect father, hugging his boy, maybe even impressing the new help with how warm and approachable he could be. But this was reality, and reality didn't care for perfect timing. You said he cried at night, Grant finally muttered, his voice quieter now, more human. Why didn't anyone tell me? Nia looked at him like he'd asked why rain was wet. Who would have listened, sir? You were in Geneva or Dubai, or wherever people like you go when they can't sleep in their own beds. Lucas flinched slightly. Nia caught it and immediately placed her hand on his head, whispering gently, "It's okay, baby. No one's mad at you." "I'm not mad at him," Grant said quickly. "Then show him," Nia said, turning her eyes on Grant. Sharp now, unafraid. He's 4. He can't decode your silence. All he knows is you leave and come back with bears instead of hugs. Grant blinked. She wasn't trying to shame him. She was protecting Lucas fiercely, like he was her own blood. That realization landed harder than anything else. "I worked 18-hour days for 4 weeks straight," Grant said, barely above a whisper. "I thought if I secured that one deal, it would pay for his future, college, a life with no limits." Nia's voice softened too. "But he doesn't understand college, Mr. Ellison. He just wants pancakes on Saturdays. Someone to clap when he jumps off the couch." Lucas looked up at Grant now, teary-eyed, uncertain. "I didn't know," Grant said, lowering his suitcase. "You didn't ask," Nia replied gently but without hesitation. A silence passed. Heavy honest. Grant walked to the stool by the kitchen island and sat down. The immaculate suit, the expensive watch, none of it mattered now. He looked at his son, really looked, and noticed the bags under his eyes, the tired way he leaned into Nia's body like it was a wall that had held him up too many nights. "Lucas," he said gently. His son didn't respond right away, so Grant tried again. This time he opened his arms. Lucas hesitated, then moved. He didn't run like Grant had imagined weeks ago. He stepped forward slowly, like someone learning to trust again. When he reached his father's arms, he didn't throw himself in. He melted like he was testing the warmth first, like he needed to know it was real. Grant wrapped his arms around him, squeezing tight. "I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't know how lonely you were." Lucas whispered, "Don't make her leave." Grant looked at Nia, her eyes filled again. But she didn't wipe the tears. She stood rooted, her fingers twisting the apron fabric at her side. "I don't want her to leave either," Grant said softly. Nia's lips parted, stunned. "Sir, please stay," he said, "not just as the maid, but as someone who cares about him. Maybe as someone who can help me learn how." Her expression shifted, cautious, confused, and then slowly warm. "I don't want to cross any lines," she said quietly. "Cross them," Grant replied. "If that's what it takes for him to feel safe again." The pot on the stove bubbled. The burned rice still clung to the bottom, forgotten. But nobody moved to fix it. The food didn't matter. Grant reached for the teddy bear from the suitcase and handed it to Lucas. "I brought this for you, but I should have brought myself sooner." Lucas didn't let go of him, and for the first time in weeks, he didn't cry. Nia watched them both and exhaled slowly. The tension in her back loosened. Her arms finally fell to her sides. For a long time, she had felt like a ghost in this house, someone whose care existed only in shadows. But now, in this moment, she was visible, valued. Later that night, after Lucas had fallen asleep in his father's lap, Grant stepped into the hallway to find Nia, wiping the stove. She turned as he approached. "I know this wasn't the job you expected," he said. "It's not," she agreed. "But it's the job I needed." He nodded. "If you ever want something more, training, school, whatever, you'll have my support. Just promise me one thing." "What's that?" "Don't stop being who you were today." For him. Nia smiled, tired but real. "I won't. I couldn't if I tried." As Grant walked back toward the living room, he paused and looked over his shoulder. "Nia." "Yes. Thank you for saving my son." She didn't answer with words. She just nodded once and turned back to the stove where a new pot of rice had just begun to simmer. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.